Hello everybody and welcome to the final third, and today we're going to be looking at the Premier League Matchweek 15 results and reacting to them. A game week full of great games, great scorelines, shock results, and what we've come to expect from the Premier League this season. It's more open than ever, so we are very happy about that. But before we jump into it, Al, do you want to give us the player from the last video?
Yes, it was Michel Vorm. I'd say a goalkeeping legend at Swansea, and obviously had a stint at Tottenham as well. So, yeah,
Decent little player. Let's just jump straight into it, shall we? And we'll go into probably some might say the shock result of the weekend, but Al predicted it, bang on the money. It is Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 1. Crazy result, to be honest. I'm quite annoyed because till the last minute they were drawing and I would have been able to make a comeback in the leaderboard, but that's not important. It's about the game. In terms of the Aston Villa side of things, that's 7 wins or 8 wins in a row now. Very so, impressive, yeah. And that's all in the Premier League as well. Do you believe that they are genuine title contenders, especially after a big game like this as well?
Yeah, look, it's hard to say really, because obviously there's still a long way to go, and we haven't seen Villa, challenge for the title in recent times and stuff like that. My only worry I'd possibly say for them is maybe their depth doesn't isn't up to the standards of like maybe a Man City or an Arsenal at the moment. Now, it's not to say that the depth is bad in any sense like that, but I feel like if they were to get like some big injuries, it would probably impact them bigger than like maybe Arsenal. Of course, Arsenal did have injuries in this game, and it clearly affected them in that game as well. But look, I think Villa are doing really well. And to be fair, I like Villa as a team, to be fair. And I was hoping that they would make a bit of a comeback when they weren't, remember at the start of the season, obviously didn't score any goals.
Yeah, they were playing really bad.
I was hoping they'd make a bit of a comeback because I do really like them as a team, and I like the manager and I like the players that they've got. But fair play, no, like you say, about 7 or 8 wins in a row now. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I think they're definitely contenders. But again, there's still a long way to go. And for me, I think they can't surely keep up this win streak. You know what I mean? Obviously, they got us next. Do I think we'll do anything? Probably not. But we'll have to wait and see for that. But great performance from them again. I think it shows their resilience, because in a lot of games they've just narrowly won. So yeah, that's what we'll say.
Yeah, and if we move on to the Arsenal side of things, they did lose narrowly last minute of the game. In a sense, you look at the reason why they've lost both their centre-backs and their backup centre-back. Now, they have a lot of centre-backs in their squad, but a lot of them have been used to playing in full-back now. The likes of Timber, who's been great at right-back, had to play in centre-back, and okay, maybe not did the worst job, but again, Hincapi hasn't played much this year because of, the other centre-backs doing so well. Calafiori playing at left-back, who's, been their best left-back this year, and Ben White hasn't really played that much. So it's a reshuffle in their centre-back, and obviously they have the best centre-back partnership in probably the world at the moment, in Gabriel and Saliba. So, when you miss those two players, it can really affect the game. Now, Al was really confident that Arsenal were going to lose this game or, bottle the league. A lot of people in the comments were, they
laughed
chatting.
at me. They laughed at me, Carlos.
They laughed at him, but now they can't.
Well, who's laughing now, mate? Eh? Yeah.
Yeah, fair play to him. You know what? He went with his guns. In a moment where Arsenal looked like they were very good and they were sort of not running away with it, but they were the team to watch and the team to worry about. And they've kind of bottled it in a sense, because City are only 2 points away, Villa are only 3 points away, so it's still a very interesting league. Like I said, it's so tight. 100%. Now it's even tight around the top, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And to be fair, even around the relegation zone, it's a very tight league this year, to be honest. And honestly, it could be, anyone could finish anywhere, except for Wolves. But we'll move on, we'll talk about them later. It's just about fine margins really in this game. I feel like Arsenal will probably pick up form in the next game, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's probably what we'll say about this game. Next game, Bournemouth versus Chelsea. Bit of a ball fest, 0-0. Is there much we can really say about this game?
Not really. What I will say is, obviously, Chelsea, right? Of course, in the last few games against Arsenal, they drew, and a lot of people, even their fans, were saying that they were going to be in the title race. Now, I had a feeling that this was all it was a bit of a fluke, that draw, if I'm being honest. I didn't feel strongly enough of Chelsea and their squad to like go on and, be a true contender for the title race. And obviously the game against Leeds, and even this game, you could argue, has shown that, because they've obviously dropped big points against Leeds. Like, going to Ellen Road is clearly it's a hard thing, and I've said it, I've mentioned it, it's a very hard stadium to go to. But with a squad like Chelsea, it's embarrassing, the fact that they lost 3-1. Okay, there's no excuses for them, because it's literally the quality that they have compared to Leeds, it's night and day. So the fact that they lost that game is absolutely embarrassing, and the fact that the fans genuinely thought they were going to be in a title race was crazy. And like, you can give them some like benefit of the doubt. They beat Barca, and they beat they drew to Arsenal with a one-man down. So it kind of gives you that feeling that they might be in a title race, but
you could say that they're just performing in the big games.
Exactly.
Like this game, Bournemouth were in horrible form.
Yeah.
Didn't they lose that? Well, no, they didn't lose it, but they hadn't won in a long period of time.
No, they've been really awful in the last few games. But what I was going to say as well, again, sorry about Chelsea, but they have been slightly inconsistent this season, and we've mentioned it many times. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you say, it's just the big games, but some of the smaller games that we really expect them to win, they just haven't been. And so them being in a title race, no, not at all. Maybe top four, but definitely not title race. No, not at all.
I mean, listen, currently they are in 5th place. Man United are joint points with them, and we know how Man United have been. They've been very inconsistent this season. I don't see Chelsea challenging for anything higher than Champions League. Unfortunately, because they haven't built that consistency yet. The players they have, like Cole Palmer's been out for a while, and to be fair, he looks a bit off it a little bit. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm sure when he hits form again, then he'll be a big player for them. But they haven't got enough consistency, and we also said the defense is a massive issue.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they kept a clean sheet in this game, but that, I believe, that comes from Bournemouth's poor finishing. Now, when we talk about Bournemouth's side of things, I mean, from that 2-2 draw, like, they scored 2 goals, but they really should have won that game.
100%.
When all things considered, they should have won that game. And this game 100%. As well, they had chances, couldn't take them. So
simple as that.
Both teams are kind of in a bad vein of form, so they need to pick it up soon, because teams below them are starting to pick up points. And like we said, the league table's really, really close. So if you snooze for about 2 games, and you could find yourself in about 13th or 12th, you know what I mean? I mean, look at Liverpool, they're 10th at the moment. Tottenham are 11th. It's really close, and you just don't know what to expect.
I think it's just, to be honest, it's only Villa and Arsenal. Obviously, Villa at the start of the season were obviously the first 5 games, no wins. But now they're very consistent. I know we were talking about a lot of teams being inconsistent. It's only them and Arsenal, and even Arsenal now. Obviously, I've talked about it in the last video about
City,
them.
To be fair.
Yeah, to be fair. But I've talked about Arsenal and them dropping points in the big games, and they've done it again, obviously, and this one's a big one as well, because Villa are obviously close. I know we're not talking about that game anymore, but I just thought I'd mention it, because obviously I think it's just really important to mention the fact that because the way the league is, teams are just really inconsistent at the moment, and that's just the case really. But yeah.
No, I agree. Like, if you look at the last 5 games, if you go on like Google, right, and you search up the Premier League table, it shows the last 5 games. The only team that's got solid green line is Aston Villa, and the rest of them just have draw, win, loss. Just back and forth. I mean, except for Wolves, it's all red. So, unfortunately for them, and Burnley, consistent. To be fair, the last 5 games,
that is a sense of consistency, but just not good consistency.
It's consistency. Yeah, I mean, Burnley, to be fair, at least Wolves aren't the only ones,
Yeah.
But I feel like let's move on to the next game. I feel like we'll discuss those teams later, but I feel like let's discuss the games in order. So, the next game is Everton versus Nottingham Forest. Everton with a convincing 3-0 win at home. Now, Everton at the beginning of the season were a bit, they looked exciting, but they weren't really getting results. Now they're starting to pick up results. They beat United away, and I know they lost 4-1 to Newcastle, but this is a very convincing win, I'd say, against Forest, against Sean Dyche, their ex-manager. Must have hurt him to see that, in the Everton new stadium as well. What can you really say? It's a good performance. to be fair, Dewsbury Hall's in very good form as well. I think he scored 3 games in a row.
Now I know why Bon Lahore really likes that guy. Fair play. It's definitely a good player. Now, what I was going to say is, though, yeah, it's definitely a shock result, I'd say. Maybe not necessarily them winning, but the fact that they won 3-0 in the matter they won. Because obviously you actually predicted them to win. Me and Hassan did.
I edged it.
I thought it'd be a draw because I thought it'd be a close game, but fair play to Everton. I think that the players that they have in their team, like Grealish and Ndiaye and these kind of players, and even Dewsbury Hall Dewsbury Hall, fair
and even
play.
Barry, he scored in this game.
Yeah, about bloody time, to be honest. But
literally,
good for him. But no, going back to it, yeah, Dewsbury Hall, he's such a good, like, I know we talk about Grealish and Ndiaye and these players, but I think Dewsbury Hall genuinely might be one of their more important players because the way he like dictates play for them and like creates some of the chances as well. He's such a good player for them. Such a good player for them. And he gets the goals as well. Not only dictates play, but obviously you still got to give respect to Grealish. These are the like star players in a sense.
This is how you build a star team. I feel like that none of them are superstars. None of them are like,
of course.
You get Neymar, you know what I mean, all the big players in the world, but they're so consistent. Yeah. They do their job and they 100%. Work as a machine. Do you know what I mean? 100%. So it works. It works. That front three, I mean, excluding the striker, front four, excluding the striker, though they've been very consistent for Everton this season.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah, that's the Everton side of things. Forest-wise, you could probably say, like, if you look at the possession, they had more possession, they had more passing. Yeah. But, again, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win the game. They didn't create enough chances.
Honestly, I don't know. It
probably shows that.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say I was just very surprised. I didn't think they would. Look, you're going to have an off performance, and I guess this is an off performance from them. They just got to hope that they don't carry this on. Simple as that.
I think you can say one thing as well. Murillo's missing now. He's such a big player for them.
I talked about him before.
He's such a huge player.
I really like him, and he is a really key player for them, especially in that defence. He is what holds it together, and the fact that he's gone is clearly showing. And I mean, a game like this, I think if he was in this game, look, I'm not saying they're going to win the game, but it could be a different game. You never know. So
they do better defensively, and also the partnership of him and Milenkovic is, up there with some of the best in the league. They complement each other so well. I think Murillo's calm, quick,
him on the ball as well,
and then Milenkovic is strong, aggressive, 100%. And right-footed, which is like
exactly
reminds me of Rio and Vidic. Not to the same level, just saying, but like similar sort of
I get you,
styles of play.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're definitely going to miss out on a quality player like Murillo, who I will 100%. Be surprised if he can get over his injury problems. Will probably leave Nottingham Forest and join a big club in the summer. I think Real Madrid need a centre back, so I can see him.
So do Liverpool.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, but don't worry, we'll be discussing them very, very soon. Moving on to the next game, it is Manchester City versus Sunderland. 3-0 convincing win for Manchester City against a Sunderland side who, to be fair, their position in the league right now, they have fallen off a little bit. They are 9th currently. But Manchester City, for a very convincing win, in all parts of the pitch with a better team. And but again, it shows that they don't just rely on Haaland now. I remember we were discussing this earlier this season and how a lot of goals were coming from Haaland.
100%.
The centre-backs starting to get involved. Phil Foden's in a very good vein of form. Like I said, that assist to Eze, that's what started it all. Do you know what I mean? You can't give an assist like that and not perform well after. Do you know what I mean? It's unbelievable.
It's mesmerising. That's all I can say.
Honestly,
but if we're going to actually be serious and talk about an assist that was amazing, Cherky with that Rabona was...
That's Payet-esque.
It was. It very much was. And honestly, he's been really good for them recently. Very good start. I think I had him as, I can't remember if it was young player to watch or player to watch, something like that. And he's definitely...
I think it's signing of the season.
May have said that. I probably said something like that. But nonetheless, he was in one of those kind of things. And to be honest, he's kind of starting to live up to it. And coming to, we're getting what we expected from him now. And fair play, because he's been a very key player now as well.
And do you know what it is as well?
Yeah.
Only Bruno Fernandes has more assists in the Premier League than Ryan Cherky.
Fair enough. Fair play. I mean, it's only his first season and he's young, so you got to respect that. So
yeah. And he's young. How old is he? What is he still 21? 22 maybe.
Something like that. Let me see. Where is he? Let me have a look.
He is 22.
He's 22. Okay, yeah.
He's born the same year as us, so.
God damn.
Yeah, born the same year.
No offense, doesn't really look 22, but.
Yeah. I mean, do we look 22? I don't know about
Probably
that.
not. Anyway, let's move on from that. It's not important. But
yeah, exactly.
Look, yeah, no, it's just a good performance from City, but we can expect that from City, from the team that they have. It's just simple as that. Once they find form, that's it, bro. And I honestly think they'll win the league. I'm saying it here first. You heard it here first. City are winning the league, not Arsenal.
Fair enough. No, I listen.
I hope I don't regret that, but
I really don't want City to win the league, but
same. I 100% agree, but I just think they have the mentality which Arsenal, I think, don't.
Agreed.
So
yeah, I mean, they brought in Donnarumma in goals to replace Ederson, and obviously different style of goalkeeper, but he's
been very key.
Such a great shot stopper.
Yeah,
such a great.
And I think he's not that bad on
best in the world.
Yeah, like obviously nowhere near Ederson on the ball, but he's good enough. Like, you know what I mean?
I feel like he just does the job. I feel like
you know what I mean. On the ball, he does enough. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if he needs to pass it to the side, he does the standard goalkeeping kick, but the shot stopping is just on another planet.
Also, Ruben Diaz's goal, real quick. That was a good goal.
Oh,
and it was a deflection, bit of deflection, but it was still a good goal.
Listen, even Phil Foden's header, like, the assist was unbelievable, but the finish, you know, to put it off the crossbar and in, it was like top corner.
Are we trying to glaze Foden again?
It's a great, it's a great header. Like, on a real, it's a great header.
No, it was a good header. It was a good header, but I think it's just like
Puskas worthy. You know what I mean?
No, that's crazy.
No, I'm joking. On a real though. But if we move on to the Sunderland side of things, because obviously we discussed City a lot, and we probably think that they are going to challenge.
Yeah.
I feel like when you look at the scoreline, you might take a couple of positives away, even because again, City are just on a great vein of form.
Yeah.
I feel like the main issue with Sunderland right now is squad depth, and I feel like their players are getting tired.
Yeah.
Remember, they only just qualified to be in the Premier League because of a playoff final, and even in the playoff semi-final.
Yeah, I mean,
last minute.
They've definitely gone over expectations, so you got to give them a bit 100%. Of the benefit of the doubt at the moment. First of all, they're playing City, so it's not like they played someone bad.
Yeah, exactly.
They're playing City, who are arguably one of the better teams as well in the Premier League, right? So fair enough, right? And we also know away from home they're not that great. They're not the best, right? And that's understandable. For them, what's going to be important is just making sure they can win basically all of their home games, or as many as they can, if they want to get, spots. Obviously, I'm sure they can win some away games as well, Burnley and these kind of ones that we expect them to win. But I'm saying, like, against like a Man City or a bit of a stronger side away from home, yeah, they can, get caught out. And again, it's City, so let's not overthink this, but look, Sunderland's still a great squad. Obviously, you talk about how they're ninth, but we did talk about how close it is from 14th up to I don't even know. So
I'm saying if let's say the teams above them drop points, and they can be.
All it takes is a few more game weeks again, and they're back up to the Champions League spots or the European spots again. So
exactly.
It's just
exactly, that's what I'm saying.
So yeah, again, I think it's not too much to worry about with Sunderland, because again, it's a very good side in City. So yeah,
100%, and I feel like. It happens against City. City at home are just a different beast.
City have that ability to beat anyone like that. Anyone.
Exactly. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Moving on to the next game, though, it is Newcastle, rivals of Sunderland, versus Burnley. An expected win for Newcastle, but a very nervy one at that, to be honest. 100%. And I know they won 2-1. To be fair, the only reason they sort of looked very close is because Burnley had a last-minute penalty in the end.
Yeah.
Overall, Newcastle were dominant. They should have won by a lot more. They should have scored about 3 or 4 goals, to say the least.
Dubravka's good.
Probably should have. Yeah, Dubravka's great. And to be fair, coming back to St James's Park, he had to come there to prove a point. You know what I mean?
That was.
Listen. I think. Yeah, you could probably say Burnley gave him a decent game, but Burnley had a bad day of form too.
Yeah, I mean, they got a red card in the 41st minute and still, only made it 2-1. So you got to give them respect for that bit of resilience.
But again,
obviously, it means nothing at the end of the day because they didn't get any points. But what I will say is, I know I was just praising Dubravka, and maybe it's kind of not. He kind of can see this. He can see it straight from the corner. Bruno literally.
It's great. To be honest,
it's great from Guimaraes. I'll be honest, technique. But. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can see the corner from as a goalkeeper, it is
It
really,
is pretty
really
sad.
poor. Yeah.
But it was great. It was great from Guimaraes. To be fair, I got to give him respect. Surprised he didn't do like 10 celebrations like usual. But nah,
It's because
fair
he's
play to him.
scoring more often now. To be fair. He scored in
Yeah,
the last game, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. I think you might be
Yeah.
right on that.
With Newcastle, I think they're starting to build a bit of form.
Yeah.
They're doing quite well. I think this is their third win in a row or something like that.
Yeah,
Anyway,
something like that.
they're doing quite well now, and now listen, the prediction I made of Sunderland finish above them might look a bit like a shaky one now. But again, I feel like
Hey, there's still a
Newcastle
long
have
way
the
to go.
quality to be. Yeah, again,
We'll
I mean
see
Newcastle are in the
who
Champions League
wins
as
in
well. You've
that
got to
derby
keep.
in December, in the later this month. That's a
So
big game.
that's going to be a huge game because I feel like that's going to be passionate. There'll be quality.
I can't wait to watch that. To be
But
honest,
yeah,
that's going to be an insane game.
yeah. I feel like there's not really much more we can discuss about this game.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
Burnley lost again. This is their fifth loss in a row, or probably more than that. I just see that they've lost the last 5 games.
Yeah.
They look like the other team that are very likely to go down. I mean, Leeds, I would have said them, but they obviously beat Chelsea and drew against Liverpool, which we'll discuss that draw later. Yeah, it was an expected result, to be honest with you, and yeah, that's how it is, really. You know what I mean? I say we move on to the next game, shall we? And
Yeah.
the next game is Tottenham versus Brentford. Tottenham winning 2-0 and getting a very rare home win.
I know.
Not many people say that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Against the Brentford side, who are very, very good. Yeah. Let's talk about one player who I thought was the man of the match, Xavi Simons. He had a very rough start to begin in the Premier League, but he scored a beautiful solo goal from the halfway line. And,
Got an assist
is
as
this
well.
the start of something bright for Tottenham and for Xavi?
Hopefully. Obviously, the biggest problem they've had is the home form. And, of course, they won against Brentford. Thomas Frank's our old team for the first win at home this season. And, yeah, yeah, no, hopefully they can work on it. Obviously, Xavi Simons gets an assist and a goal, so that's good for him. And maybe he's starting to become the player they're hoping he would be for them. And hopefully so, because I think he is a good player and he's a very exciting player.
100%.
Very ambitious player as well, I'll say, in the style of play. And that's what we kind of like to see in the Premier League, entertaining players. And I think Xavi Simons, when he's on it, is a very entertaining player. And yeah, it's a very good win for Tottenham. Again, look, Tottenham are a good team, and I think the fans have overreacted a bit with how with how they've been this season. I think, look, it is not nowhere near as bad as some of them are making it out to be. Look, I'm not saying they don't deserve to be
I mean,
frustrated.
they forget
at
where they
times.
finished last season. They were
Exactly.
literally only just above the relegation zone.
Look, I'll give them something. Look, the pragmatism sometimes from Thomas Frank can make them suffer at times, and yeah, this and that. But at the end of the day, first of all, like you say, from where they finished last season, they need to be very grateful. And second of all, it takes time. It's a new manager. It's a completely it's taken over from a completely different style of play. By the way, you know what I'm saying. So he's trying to. It's a team that's built for one style of play, and he's trying to completely change it to fit his style of play. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take time. Maybe a couple more transfer windows for him. Maybe January this summer. It gets a bit more of his players. And then you never know. Again, we've talked about the midfield. Thankfully, for them, Xavi Simons starting to perform. Obviously, it's only one game, so we have to wait and see if he can carry it on. Hopefully for him, he does. But again, it's just patience, and I think they just don't have it at the moment, the fans. But maybe this will help them, see the vision of Thomas Frank a bit more.
Potentially, I mean, I would say, I think Brentford mostly have been very poor away from home.
Yeah.
We discussed how they get very good results at home, but away
Yeah.
from home, it just doesn't seem to work. Now, we've discussed the type of club that Brentford are and how, they're a very family-based club, and
100%.
they build that. And at home, they must feel that atmosphere, and, everything seems to be going that way at home. Away from home, being quite the opposite, and in the league they are currently 14th. Like I said, they're still in and amongst the that sort of what's the word,
Chaos,
cluster
I guess. I
of
don't know.
teams
Cluster.
in the mid-table. Again, if they win 2-3 games in a row, they can be again top half of the table again. But it's the away form that I feel like that will definitely make them suffer,
Yeah.
and they don't want to drift too far low.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they don't pattern up their away form, that can definitely affect them. Because like we said, the home form is fantastic. But yeah, away form hasn't been very good.
It hasn't been good. But I want, like, yeah, like if they want to, I don't think they should be worried, obviously, about like, you know, anything like relegation or anything. But it's more if they want to be ambitious and go for the top spot, like maybe higher up in the league, maybe even, I doubt it, but like European spots, which again, I highly doubt it. But if they wanted that, they need to be better away from
Brentford
form.
to get relegated. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
so they're already
Actually,
overperforming in my opinion. But still, like you say, the away form. But the way the club is, like you said again as well, it's just the way they are, and sometimes it's just the home form that can carry them. But fair play, they're still, you know, they're still doing very well. So, yeah.
Yeah, they just, I think they need to sort of wake up a little bit, because I believe they've lost the last 2 games. And that's not very good. But again, they've got another weekend, obviously, to try and recover and all that. Yeah. They can do it. They can do it, definitely. They have quality players, and
can I
just wait and see what happens.
Can I just add a little something about that, though, as well? Now, you talk about the fact, we've got to not forget, obviously, those midweek games as well. And you've got to understand, a team like Brentford, and not just Brentford, but some of the clubs around them and that are similar in quality, they don't have any depth. They can't rotate the teams like the way a Tottenham can, the way a City can, and Newcastle. You know what I mean? So these teams are going to suffer when it comes to these kind of fixtures, when it's just after a midweek fixture. And I think that's something that we need to take account of, because it's not fair. You know what I mean? Like, we shouldn't expect them to be able to, like, maybe win a game midweek and then also go in the weekend with the same team and, you know, perform the same way. It's just not going to happen with these kind of teams. The depth's just not there. But I thought I'd just add that.
No, 100%, I agree with you. And, you know, like you said, midweek games sometimes are hard for teams if they don't have depth. But, yeah, it's... Yeah, like we said, they lost a lot of players this year.
Yeah.
And, like we said, they're doing very well. So that's just on the Brentford side of things. I say we move on to the next game, because it's probably the game of the weekend. Leeds versus Liverpool, just back and forth. 3-3 draw. You know, Liverpool, again... A lot happened. Let's talk about Leeds first, because we have a lot to discuss about Liverpool. To get a dramatic last-minute equaliser and to come back from 2 goals down to begin with, then get the equaliser. You know, set pieces, Ellen Road, big performance, big draw, and 2 massive results in a row. Can this be a catalyst to keep them in the league?
Possibly. Like I said so many times, the Ellen Road is a very hard place to go, and I think if they were to stay in the league, it's going to be because of their home form. Obviously, were they at home against Chelsea? I can't even... Yeah, they were at home. They were. Exactly. So that, obviously, they got the win there, and then they got the draw here. So it just shows how good their home form can be, and how hard it is to go to Ellen Road. Yeah, and look, Tanaka, the player that scored the equaliser, I believe, I think it was him that scored it. He obviously also scored in the game against Chelsea. He's been a good player for them in the last couple of games. And yeah, they're just in good vein of form. And what you got to respect is the resilience in this game. You know, when they were 2-0 down in like the 70th minute, you know, you might think all is lost. But they still managed to come back. And you got to respect that resilience. You know, they didn't put their heads down and just give up. No, they came back. Even with such little time left, even when it went to 3-2, and they still managed to get a point out of it. So I have a lot of respect for them. I do hope they stay in the league, but I hope it's not at the cost of my team going down. But we'll see. So, but a lot of respect for them in this performance as well.
100%. Listen, I wanted both teams to lose the game, but I feel like Leeds definitely... I feel like Leeds definitely deserved the draw out of this game. You know, they gave Liverpool a very, very good game. You know, to score the goals in the last 20 minutes like they did, like we said, shows resilience. And Ellen Road's fantastic atmosphere coming in clutch for them, I believe. Because, you know, when you have... I feel like with all the big teams, I mean, Liverpool had it at Anfield, but they kind of lost it now. When the supporters, like, sort of keep on bashing you and sort of, you know, keep on forcing you, and you will sort of get over the line. It gives you confidence. Yeah. Gives you great confidence, and I feel like obviously it's helped them in the last 2 games. But moving on to the Liverpool side of things, a lot to discuss. Let's talk about the game first and foremost. Ekitike being a fantastic signing. Yeah. But, and because Liverpool have been such in poor form, there's always a but.
Yes.
Where are the other attackers? Why is it only him that's carrying them?
Yeah, that's why. Let's give him some respect as well. Obviously, I know.
No, Szoboszlai's been one of their players of the season. To be fair, those 2 I'd probably say being their better players this season. Other than 100%. That, you can't really name anyone that's any close.
Nope. absolutely not. I think obviously now we're going to mention Salah in a bit, right? Because there's a lot to talk about and and kind of uncover with that. But yeah, no, it's obviously look, the attacking wise, it's literally just Ekitike, and to be honest, I know I'm not a Liverpool fan, but when I've seen in like some recent games where he's been trying to start Alexander Isak, it's been getting on my nerves because I just don't understand why you're like, what's the word? I can't even think of the word, but you're like
Pride.
not even your pride, but like, look, I get why he's starting him, right? Because of the price tag, and he needs to justify the price tag, right? So he's playing him, but you're costing the team by playing him over, over Ekitike, who's in clearly much better form and has been much better for you. Like, you need to put this away. Don't care about the price tag and how Alexander, how expensive he's been. He's not been good enough, and you got to play the team that you think will win you the game. And obviously he tried to do it now. Ekitike gets 2 goals. But then obviously they still lose the game. But that's not his fault in terms of Ekitike or even Szoboszlai. It's obviously the defense. The defense is just so bad. And the thing is, it's not like they have bad defenders, if you know what I'm saying. Like, these defenders, we're talking about like Van Dijk, who's arguably the best centre back in Prem history, right? And like Konate, who, let's be fair, he wasn't that bad in a lot, since he's come, he's been a very good centre back for them. And it's just this season they've completely capitulated. And look, we could talk about maybe, obviously they might still be grieving the loss of Jota, and it's definitely going to have an impact on them, especially Konate, who seemed to be very, very close with Jota. And it's something you have to consider because, look, bro, it's a friend, it's a close friend that has passed away. You can't imagine how much that has an impact on someone, right? And how they perform and work. If someone passed away in your life that's very close to you, and then you went to work, how would you perform? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to think about it like that. And look, again, I don't want to keep talking about this, and may he rest in peace, right? But unfortunately, it is the defense at the moment, and they clearly made a mistake by not investing nowhere near. Well, they didn't invest at all in the summer in the defense. Well, except for Kirkes and Frimpong, but they're more attacking defenders, if that makes sense. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I feel like, obviously, listen, with Florian Wirtz, I'm going to mention him only because I feel like you're expecting more. Like, I've just
100%.
checked the stats. 14 games, no goals, no assists in the Premier League. Now, that's not a massive issue in the sense that if your team's winning, you don't complain.
Yeah, exactly.
Really.
At the start of the season, no one was complaining.
Exactly. You're winning games, and like he didn't really start. They were trying to ease him in, but now he's become a very integral part of their team. And to be honest, he's a very, 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 sort of.
I think he's had some good performances. I think
he's a good player. He's a good player, but I feel like with that price tag, you need someone that performs week in, week out, and gets goals. The way Ekitike is, I'm not saying he's a striker, but I'm saying assists. You know what I mean? Getting involved in the game. It's very important that you need a player like that. And unfortunately, he's been way better than Isak. Let's not take anything away. The worst signing this season is Isak because of the price tag as well,
and everything that surrounds it. The fact that he's been in
and
the Prem, it's not like
his move, and it didn't work really.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's just the signing side of things. But let's discuss the Salah situation. Now, he did an interview after the game, and it was very, very, a lot of heat, a lot of things were said. He has said that Liverpool have thrown him under the bus, and he has almost no relationship with Slot, doesn't talk to him as well. What do you think about it, Al?
I'm absolutely, flabbergasted. I can't believe he's come out and said this. Look, it was quite clear that he's very frustrated with the manager. He's I think he's even mentioned it before or something. But I never would have thought he would have gone out and said something like this against the club. When he's one of your great players, and he's one of the best players in Liverpool history, no doubt about it. Probably 100%. Top 3, if I'm being honest, right? However,
you could say the best in the Premier League era.
I would want to say that, but maybe someone would argue Steven Gerrard. And look, this is not the point right now. The fact that he's come out and said that it's crazy. And look, me and Charles were discussing it before the video. It's very reminiscent of Cristiano Ronaldo with Ten Hag and that whole thing when he made an interview, Piers Morgan, and then ended up going to Saudi. Honestly, it's so reminiscent of that I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the season he leaves and goes to Saudi as well. honestly.
I don't even think it'll be the end of the season. I think it'll be January, because I feel like AFCON will sort of come into consideration if they invest in someone like a Semenyo, who I believe they've been looking at, and obviously he's available because he has a release clause. I mean, I don't know if they have any more money left after spending the amount they did in the summer.
Yeah.
And even then, that's not a priority position for them. They should be going for a centre back.
100%.
What their plan is, it's going to be very interesting to see what they do.
I think this season they're not going to be able to do enough to, like, bro. It's very worrying because obviously they're nowhere near the European spots of them. Well, really, like I'm a bit. For
Liverpool's for the expectations of Liverpool,
that's what I'm saying.
The Premier League champions,
they're not. The fact that they're not in the spots is worrying for me. And if they, I just think like surely they get some European football, but with the way it's looking, I genuinely don't think they get any European football unless they can somehow win like the FA Cup or something like that. But genuinely, it's worrying for them, and I don't think the January transfer window is going to save them. And I just think he needs to somehow figure it out with the team, the slot. I think that's the only way. I don't think January will save him, and I think they'll have to forget about that. I don't think they'll have enough to invest. Look, someone that I think, like, we talk about Salah, he's complaining, right? And because he's not getting game time, and I respect it because he is their best player maybe in Prem history. But Chiesa, on the other hand, has come, and every time he's played, he's proven himself really well. And yeah, he's not getting the minutes. Yeah, he has not, complained about it. And again, it's a bit different. It's very different, matter of fact, because he hasn't been there long enough as Salah and been, their best player in history. But it's still like the complaining from Salah. I don't know. It's crazy. It's just crazy. And I'd love to know what you fans think, the Liverpool fans, because yeah, it's just mental. If you want to put it in the comments what you think about this situation, it'd be nice to see what you think and react to it. But no, it's just crazy. What about you, Carlos? What do you think?
It's probably the biggest talking point of the weekend.
100%. Yeah.
Again, you could talk about Liverpool's form, but they've been poor for a while. I feel like the fact that Salah wasn't even brought on sort of tells the story. It reminds me of, like we said earlier, about Ronaldo, and when we beat Tottenham, I believe it was 2-0.
Yeah, and
Ronaldo didn't get subbed on, and then he walked off.
Yeah.
And that sort of started everything. And it's kind of the same with this, Salah not being brought on straight after the game, doing the interview. Salah's been such a great servant for the club. He's won every single thing there is to win with Liverpool. Not really complaining, and obviously now he is. But he's been disrespected, to say the least. Okay,
100%.
He's the best paid player in the club. He should be performing at a better level. But I feel like even now, not bringing him on, potentially because there's a relationship issue between the manager and the player, is quite sad to see. Even though, again, he's a Liverpool player, and like I said, I wanted both teams to lose, but I feel like Salah is still a difference maker, no matter what stage in his career he is. I feel like he can be a difference. He is that type of a player,
100%.
And you don't lose that. It's really sad to see, but again, sometimes it happens. Salah was going to leave at some point, but it looks like it's going to end on a very, very sour note, and that's very unfortunate for him and the Liverpool fans as well. Like Al said, leave it in the comments and tell us what you think. But we'll move on to the next game. Let's talk about West Ham, and it is West Ham or Brighton versus West Ham. It finished 1-1. Why don't we just let Al, you go ahead and sort of tell us what you thought of West Ham's performance.
West Ham's performance, I was very happy, I'd say, with it. Right, defensively, I thought we were brilliant. I think even going forward, I think honestly we were easily the much better team than Brighton. We created way more chances, we were way more threatening, and defensively, I thought we were way better. Genuinely, one thing I'll say, fair play to Verbruggen. He made some good saves that game, and respect, because if it weren't for him, they definitely would have lost that game. But they should have lost that game because the refereeing it's awful. It's shambolic. It's absolutely shambolic for their goal. I'm sorry, but look, obviously there was 2 incidents in that goal leading to the goal. Now, for me, a lot of people have talked about the handball, but for me, that's not even the biggest problem. The fact that they didn't even look at the high foot from the beginning, from the bicycle kick from, I can't remember who the player is, but I've seen so many angles of it now, and it's literally like, imagine that's the foot, and that's Mavropanus's head, right? It's literally they're touching, and they haven't considered it. Is beyond me. And it just shows how bad the refereeing has been in the Premier League and how useless VAR is at this point. Now, I've actually defended VAR somewhat. I've said it's a good concept, but the execution is unbelievably shit. And this is another case of where it's been unbelievably fucking shit. And it's cost us the game. And look, for a team like West Ham, who are in and amongst the relegation battle, we're in the relegation zone. So I'm saying it as if we're amongst it. We're in it, right? We're in it. We're in the zone. And we're 18th. And if we win this game, we go up 2 more spots, yeah? I believe, right? And the fact that we're now not, because the refereeing has made the refs made an awful decision. It's, look, I can go on and on about that, but one thing I have to say, I can't blame it all on that, because the amount of chances we had in the game and we did not take them is also on us, and we have to take responsibility. I love Somerville, and I think he is a very good player. I just think, his finishing needs to improve big time, because unfortunately it's just not great. And he had 2 brilliant chances to score and didn't take them. And one thing I have to say with Nuno, because I still love him and I'm nothing against him, like no negativity, but his decision making sometimes can baffle me a little. First of all, the lineup. I mean, tell Carlos, bro. I remember I sent the lineup into the chat and I'm going mental about it. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? And I can understand. Now looking back, I can understand. Look, basically, I talked about it just then. We had a midweek game rotation. I respect it. And to be fair, the team that came out played pretty good. And to be honest, we probably should have been up before we made any substitutions. We were very unlucky. And but the only issue I had with the lineup in the end of the day was no striker. When I saw Lucas Paqueta starting, now, to be fair, he didn't really do that bad in the game, but he also did fuck all, if I'm being perfectly honest. And the fact that he didn't start Wilson is just bewildering. I don't know what Wilson has done wrong to not deserve to start that game, right? Because he's only done good things for us since coming. And to be honest, I know I might have I can't remember what I said about the signing when we first talked about the signing before the season started. I might have said some bad things, and fair enough, right? And I apologise if I did. But he's been a great player for us, and he proved it again in this game when he came on and got an assist straight away to Bowen. And not only that, but he had 2 other good chances to score or assist. And fair play. He's just a really good player. And I reckon if we started the game with him, we genuinely win that game by a couple more goals. And again, so this is my point. As much as VAR fucked us over, I think, we need to take some responsibility in ourselves with the chances we didn't take. And as well, going defensive again, I think, I won't say too early, but going defensive when we didn't need to, because we invited pressure that just didn't exist. It didn't exist. Don't get me wrong, Brian had a couple chances in the game, but at that point in the game, they weren't pressuring us. I don't know why he went defensive, but look, at least he didn't do it in the 60th minute against Bournemouth. But there you go.
Yeah, you covered the West Ham side really, really well. Again, West Ham fan, you watched the game, so obviously you know what's going on. I think Brighton had more chances than you probably would have sort of said.
Oh, then I said, right, okay, I thought you were going to say, then us then. I was
yeah.
going to say. Right, no, they had some good.
It was probably very similar chances, similar amount of chances, I would say.
They had some decent chances.
Because Areola obviously had great saves.
No. Oh, yeah, no, he did.
And listen, Areola's class, and he's probably maybe a player of the season. He's the reason
he is.
I mean, I'm saying, you're still in the relegation zone, but he's just been one of your better players this season, you know what I mean? You signed Hermansen, he was dead awful in the beginning of the season. And
I never wanted that signing, just to reiterate.
I remember, you were complaining about, I'm like, why would you sign a goalkeeper when you need to sign other positions, which you were correct about. And a player that I really do want to mention is Mateus Fernandes. He had a great game. Unbelievable. He won the most duels, I think, out of any Premier League player this season.
He's so good.
And shows that I think with him, he's an attacking. I think he's more of a box-to-box than an attacking midfielder.
Yeah.
I feel like him in that position could be a great player for West Ham. Hopefully, you guys stay in the league, and because you guys have Premier League heritage. Let's be honest, West Ham are Premier League heritage. They've been in the league a lot. When they get relegated, it's not the same, I would say. To be fair, I actually look at your squad and look at the team you played today, right? I know you complain a lot about Guido Rodriguez, but I think he's got pedigree to a certain level.
I'll give it to him. That game, he was actually not that bad. So,
yeah,
fair enough.
But not just that. I look at your lineup and I feel like every player in that team, bar Kilman, are very good and do well for West Ham.
Yeah.
That's just fair to say that. And looking at your bench, you know, you got the likes of Wilson, Magassa, Souček, Freddie Potts, Walker Peters.
I think our bench isn't that good.
Been great.
I don't think our bench is good because some of those are starters,
really
realistically.
I feel like, look at the rotation you guys made.
But we have no going forward. That's what I will say. Going forward, we don't have much stuff.
I agree. Like, I feel like the basis of your squad, it shouldn't be in relegation fodder. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What I will say is, obviously, we've
That's
dropped.
What I'll say.
I think if Nuno was in way earlier, it's a different story. We're not in the. I think we might be even in and amongst the people that are like from 14th up to like 5th or whatever it is, or at least closer to it. Obviously, we had the Bournemouth game. That's 2 points dropped, in my opinion. Obviously, before that game, you take a point. But in the game, after the game, you're like, that's 2 points dropped. And again, against Brighton, which, again, we got fucked over. This is completely different because we got fucked over by VAR as well, right? We should have won that game. Like, not even... The performance was good. No problem with the performance. We got screwed over and deserved 2 more points. But that's football for you, and there's some things you just can't handle and you can't change. And unfortunately, that's just how it goes, man. That's just how it goes.
Sometimes that's how football goes, and
if we get relegated, I'm fucking and it's by like 2 points. The referee
I think with the form you're starting to build up. I know
that's all I'm saying.
You lost the game to Liverpool, but you are building up decent form. I would say you haven't lost other than Liverpool for a while, right?
Yeah.
If you disclude that, I guess exclude that Liverpool game. Building up momentum. Can you guys keep it going?
I mean, we got Villa next and then City,
it's not easy, but I think we'll move on to the next game. We discussed West Ham and the West Ham game quite a bit. Let's talk about Fulham versus Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace getting a late winner. Mark Gahey, the man who was supposed to leave, the man who's out of contract in the summer. A lot of teams want him, but he is Crystal Palace's captain and helping them be in the top 4. And Crystal Palace, like we said, unbelievable this season. Been unbelievable since last season, and you know they're trying to be consistent, and so far they are being that.
Yeah. I mean, fair play. I thought this was a very good game. It was very close. Yeah. A player on, I know we're talking about Crystal Palace as well, but on the Fulham side of things, Harry Wilson. He's a player I really like, and I've talked about a lot. I think he's a really good player, and I think he's probably arguably their best player, if I'm being honest, for Fulham. I think he's so good. He's been quite consistent, I'd say, this season for them. And I think, to be fair to Fulham, they're very unlucky not to get a point out of this game. And it's just they played really well, and it's just very unlucky. It's a last minute goal, maybe a bit of focus goes out of the players towards the end. But obviously you got to give the respect to Palace. They're just so good this season, and Glasner's got them playing some really good football. And obviously, again, I'll talk about resilience. This is another resilient performance because they've managed to, get a goal towards the end to get the win. They stayed in there. Fair play to them. And Gahey's obviously one of their best players. And Carlos has talked about Jeremy. Is it Pino or Pino? Pino. He's been a very good player since in the last few games for them, and obviously got the assist for the goal. So fair play to them.
I think he's a great player, and a very big reason why Crystal Palace are doing so well at the moment. I think 100%. On the Fulham side of things, it's a bit of a setback.
100%.
They were in a good vein of form. Is it something to worry about? Probably, because the position they're in is not ideal. If they keep on losing these games with fine margins at home, they will see themselves
lead loss.
Exactly, a rival.
It's another lead loss.
I feel like
we've talked about it before.
It's a lead loss. That's what I'm saying.
They didn't have the lead. Never mind. But you know what I mean. It's another point loss.
It doesn't matter. Another point loss. Lead lost or whatever. But they are getting quite close to the relegation zone. They are only 4 points above West Ham. If West Ham gain a bit of form and the rest of the teams below them play quite well, then they could be in that relegation scrap.
100%.
So Fulham need to lock in again. They have great players. They gave Man City a great game of the day.
Yes.
Again, close games, close margins. They need to sort it out and try and get that win.
They need to get over the line, and that's just something they're struggling with.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. That's the best way to put it. To be fair. Yeah. And I think it's just time to move on to the last game.
Yes.
It is Wolves versus Manchester United, a 4-1 thrashing against Wolves. Al, I'm gonna let you start off with Wolves. I feel like they should be discussed more than Manchester United. To be honest with you, in this game, we've actually, as we are on the podcast, we had two comments, and I'm gonna mention them now.
Okay.
Someone said that Larson has been shocking this season, and he wasn't
Okay.
very good in this game, and I haven't seen him
Shit.
do very well this
Damn.
season. And somebody said, I believe he's a Derby County fan. Yeah, it doesn't really matter who it is. They need to swallow it up and get ready for next season. That's probably the best way to look at it. They are almost guaranteed to get relegated. I don't think there's any other team that is going to be close to them, and yeah, they just need to start preparing themselves for next season and get ready for the championship. Unfortunately,
Yeah, I don't even think a Christmas miracle could save them at this point, mate. They're
nah.
genuinely Gary Goners, mate. And it's sad to see because Wolves, since they came back up, they were good. They got into the European spots. They were a very good team under Nuno. And unfortunately, I mean, I was watching the game and I could hear the chanting against the ownership it was easy. It was like you could hear it so well.
It's
And
like Man United when they sing Glazers out.
I know, but look, the ownership has really run them into the ground.
No, I
And
agree. But that's what I'm saying.
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
like
I'm not
that
trying to
type
compare
of
it, but like my
scale in
point
terms of.
is, it's sad to see what a bad ownership can do.
And I believe the
I,
fans did a walkout as well, if I'm not mistaken. Some of them started walking out of the stadium at a certain
can you
time.
blame
I'm
them?
not too sure. I don't really know what's going on with that
I can't blame
situation.
them.
It
I
is
can't
really
blame them.
dire.
I can't
It's
blame
dire,
them.
man. It is dire.
It's disgraceful. What the ownership has done, no care for the club. I saw a video of a Wolves fan explaining the situation and what exactly it is the ownership has done that has screwed them over. And it's like things like promising to redo the stadium a bit and like actually do it up, and they were going to make a bigger stadium, all this, and all they did was end up repainting it, and they still haven't finished that, which is awful. Not only that, they've invested more in their esports team. Like, why the fuck do you even have an esports team? What's that got to do with anything?
Focus on your actual
Not,
team,
and
the team that makes
that's
you the most money.
genuinely not even the. Do you know that esports team? I believe it was the sponsor they have is from West Bromwich University, who are their rivals. This is from what I've seen from the TikToker, and he's a Wolves fan, very diehard Wolves fan, and it's just so sad to see. And like, obviously, I've talked about the ownership this season of West Ham and how awful they've been, and the reason we were in the position we are, and it's just sad to see when clubs like these get taken over by these owners who have no care for the football, no care for the club and the people that support the club, and are just there for profit, and that's it. And I hope for their sake that they can find a new owner very quick that can, that cares for the club and puts money, invests correctly, and gives direction to the club. But I said it in the last video, they're guaranteed for championship football next season. And again, I can't even guarantee if they could come straight back up. Like I said, you get some clubs, they go down, come straight back up. I mean, this team, there's just no hope for me. Like, I can't see them coming back up straight away. I think it will take a good few seasons to really recoup. Because first of all, like we talk about Strand Larson, he hasn't been great, but I still see him moving away because I still think he is a talent that can be, nurtured in a different club and, get to his potential, because he is a great player and he's shown it in moments. I will say, not consistent enough, but none of the squad's been consistent enough. They've been absolutely fucking awful. And I said it in the last video, I think it's genuinely the worst Premier League side in history. I think it will be. I think it will go down. I think it'll be worse than the Derby County team easily. But
Yeah. It's quite sad to see the Wolves.
It is.
They did get a goal, and at that point, it looked like they could potentially get back into the game, potentially do something. But the majority of the game, Manchester United were the dominant side, and me as a Manchester United fan, I feel like I should analyse that side of things, because I feel like Al covered the Wolverhampton side things quite well. We were the dominant team, obviously. 4-1 sort of is probably not enough for the performance that Man United put in. I would say that you've got to play what's in front of you, and we did and beat them convincingly, but I believe we could have won by more. But the issues are probably still the same. We lose the second ball too much, I believe. And I feel like there's just sort of a lack of consistent passing play. We're not playing a very beautiful style of football. It's nothing,
Mm.
nice to. It's not nice on the eye at all. But um, if I'm going to shout out a couple of players, I would say Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, a 2 goals and an assist. You got to praise that. Mason Mount, great goal, great performance. I thought Mateus Cunha was really good today. I probably think he definitely deserved a goal, and got so close, goal line clearance, and a couple of opportunities where he probably should have scored himself, but did get an assist as well.
Yeah.
And Burmo scores again, probably, like we said, one of the signings of the season, and keeps on performing. Listen, first half wasn't very good.
I was
Second half
going
he
to
did a
say,
lot
yeah.
better. Yeah, listen,
Yeah.
it happens sometimes. You can have a
Yeah.
bad first half, but again, he came up with a goal, and that was very important for us.
Exactly.
And you know what it is? I'll give praise to Aiden Heaven. I thought he was very solid.
I don't think he had a lot to
young
do,
player.
but fair play. He did
Didn't
what
have
he
a
had
lot
to
to do,
do.
but I would say
Again, like you say,
a
you can only face what you're
big
coming up
centre forward.
against.
No,
And
100%. But I
he
still
did what
feel
he
like
did, so.
he came into the Premier League as a youngster, joined Manchester United from Arsenal. Not same situation as Lenior, who had played a lot of football behind him. He's sort of still a youth player and coming through, but he looked very solid today. Didn't look out of place at all, and very, very. His playing out from the back is quite good. I thought like he had some
Yeah.
very good line breaking
Yeah.
passes, which were good. So fair play to him. And I can praise a lot more players. But I'm gonna say one more thing about Manchester United before we end the video. A lot of fans, including myself, really didn't think that we were going to win this game.
Oh, yeah.
I know I
Oh,
predicted a
yeah.
2-1 win. Now, there's reasons behind that. We've seen Man United over the last couple of years and how we've been really, really poor in some games and how inconsistent we've been. And the games you'd expect us to win, we don't win. And the games you don't expect us to win, we win. I thought this would be one of those games, and I felt like, Wolves would get their first win against us, but clearly they're just on another level of terrible, and unfortunately for them.
Yeah.
But another thing is that Man United's form over the last month, 2 months, 3 months, not even been that bad. We had the hardest start to the Premier League season. Now, if we look at the results generally,
I've said it. I've said it to you, and I've said it to Hassan as well. I think it's been blown out of proportion. Look, you have lost like leads, I guess you can say, because you had against West Ham, this and that.
I think that's the main thing. But it's look at the
getting over the line again, kind of like Fulham, but they're a bit different. But
especially getting over the line, 100%. Like the Forest game, you're winning that game. You shouldn't be conceding 2 goals that quickly in the second half.
Yeah,
clawing back a result, fair enough, shows resilience. That Tottenham game, realistically, Tottenham, it wasn't really a great game. We went 1-0 up, but you let them get 2 goals out of nothing, really, and, quite poor goals, to say the least. The Everton game is the worst of the lot. That was horrible to watch. And, listen, teams can have that in that season, and they can have a very bad game like that. The Palace game, set pieces. West Ham game was very poor as well. I felt like our finishing wasn't there. And I feel like, listen, I saw a stat also saying that if Manchester United had kept those results and had got the wins, like West Ham, we were winning, Forest, we were winning, Tottenham, we were winning. I mean, we should have realistically beat Everton we'd be top of the league.
Well, there you go.
Which is mental to think about. There's fine margins, fine margins in these games. Obviously, hindsight is everything. You can say we'd be top of the league if we win these games.
What I'll say is I think Amram's has been given a lot of unnecessary hate. Not from every fan, but a lot of fans online. And I think it's more on the players when you've dropped points. It's not, you can't blame Amram. I think some of them still haven't adapted to his system correctly. And I think give him look, you got to trust the process with him. Give him a couple more transfer windows, and I'm telling you, United will be title contenders. I genuinely just think he maybe needs to get a bit more of his defence in the midfield. 100% the midfield, maybe a bit more in the defence. And I'm telling you, you lot are going to start cooking. I'm telling you.
I hope so. I really do. Like you said, that I think the team needs to learn the system more. We need to invest in more players. I feel like the midfield, even though Bruno Fernandes had a great game today and was near enough flawless in the sense that obviously goals and assists as well alongside his performance, we need to invest in that position. But our next 3 games is Bournemouth at home. They've been very poor, so I feel like we should win that game. Villa away, I don't see anything but a loss in that game. And Newcastle at home. These are games that I feel like, especially if we win those 3 games, we have to play Wolves at home after that. So let's hope for the United Strand's sake. If we win those 3 games, hopefully that means we can get him a haircut at Old Trafford after that Wolves game. Hopefully, but again, let's just not talk about that really. Hopefully, we can just build a good vein of form and get to the European spots and hopefully challenge to get Champions League football. But that is it. That is the reaction to the video. Unless you want to add anything else, Al?
Nope. Maybe, obviously, now that we ended, maybe the leaderboard quickly.
Of course, yeah, the leaderboard, yeah. So obviously, Al's gone ahead. Very frustrating for me because I was so close to getting building a good little gap, or bridging the gap actually. But yeah, Al's taking a good little lead. Hassan's second place and me still last. But I'm coming back. I'm telling you, I feel like United is coming back. But yeah, I'm gonna come back hopefully. But before we end the vid, Al, quiz if you don't mind.
Yes, let's start with the first fact. He was originally rejected by Chelsea's academy due to concerns about his physical size before joining Southampton, where he quickly broke multiple youth scoring records. The second fact. His competitive England under-21 debut came after his senior England debut, a very rare career order for a national team player. Third fact. In Arsenal's 7-5 League Cup comeback against Reading in 2012, he scored 3 goals across regulation and extra time, but was only officially credited with a hat-trick after a post-match review. Fourth fact. He was once recorded the fastest sprint speed ever measured at Arsenal during his peak years, breaking the internal record previously held by Thierry Henry. And for the fifth and final fact, he scored the opening goal in the 2015 FA Cup final, becoming the first English player to score in that fixture in 5 years. Let us know if you know who that is in the comments, and we will reveal him like always in the next video. So, yeah.
Thank you very much for coming in, guys. It's been a pleasure. If you guys have any comments you want to discuss in the about this weekend, then please leave it in the comments below. We'd love to interact and sort of get involved. Potentially points for the next video. We'd love to discuss that as well. But thank you guys for coming in. Please leave a like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you get notified when we upload videos, and we will see you on the next one. Take care, guys.
Take care.